Welcome to the World Forge. We are here with our episode 0. We're going to lay down some ground rules and let you guys know how this first section of the show is going to go. We are going to be building from the ground up. I'm Eric from the Hebridian Tales.
I am Chris from the Chaos Den podcast.
All right. And yeah, so we're going to be doing some world building on this show, and Chris and I have had several conversations, and we're going to start from the ground up.
Several conversations. It's only been like a month of pre-building.
Truth. I do understand that. Words would come out my face hole.
You know, it does help when words actually do come out of our face holes, especially when they're understandable. What's up, Mr. Shades? I see you, and I appreciate you. So, in our lovely, we want to call this a session?
Episode 0.
Episode 0?
Dead.
Episode 0.
Yeah.
We're going to start with, I guess, cosmology.
Yes. We're going to start with our first section is going to be cosmology, and it is fun because we are starting with the nebulaic. We're going from there and building into and seeing how we're going to build this world. We got gods to figure out, we got dragons, all the other primordial and or ancient shit.
It's the creation process on how everything formed. Mm-hmm. Like, do we have a big bang, or do we just have a creation?
Or is it more complicated?
Could be more complicated. We don't know. We're gonna find out, and we're gonna have everybody join us for this fun times.
Correct. And because we have no idea what we're doing yet, we're gonna be building this right here in front of you. No pre-conversation about how we're building, just that it's going to be live in front of you. Figuring this out from 0. If you guys have any input or want to or have any thoughts or ideas that we don't have, please feel free to put those in the chat.
Add them in.
That's why we have a chat. As you can see, we have a chat as well as a blank white square. What that white square is Chris is sitting at a keyboard, and he is going to be doing the clickety-clack of the note-taking, so that we can keep all of this together. It is good to meet you too, Shades. And I'm verbose. I have lots of words. Of words.
I believe Eric as well has access to this lovely little blank white page. So we'll both be adding into this little notes. And this will be our notes for the entire world building creation.
Correct. And give me 1 second. I'm going to go ahead and do this.
Do this. Do that. Like to see what you come up with.
Do you want me to go ahead and set the live notes to be accessible for anyone with a link that we send them at the beginning of the episode, of each episode, so that they can be a viewer? Not an editor, just a viewer, so they can watch as we're taking notes on a different screen or whatever they may have? Or you want to save that for later down the road?
Yeah, we'll save that for later down the road. We'll just leave it right now so that everybody can see it on Twitch and YouTube. I think that's just as enjoyable. They get to see our lovely faces and everything that we're doing. Yeah. So,
pose to the camera.
Ooh, pose. So let's start with let's start with stage 1, cosmology. So the fun part about doing that is we get to decide on how do we want this to start. Do we want this to start with the concept of my little brain has been running for the past little while, coming up with ideas that I wanted to throw at you and the world. And one of the things that I thought would be fun is the possibility of core dragons. Core dragons coming in from maybe another universe that come to this pocket hole of nothing, and they decide that they want to create here. This is now their domain, Maybe it's, one or two ancient entities that decide we want something of our own. We want our own pocket realm. And they decide to create something from there. Or it could be gods, or it could just be maybe a lack of gods.
So because we are doing for a traditional most RPG style, I would recommend some kind of deity, even if it is just something people believe in. And if that's the case, we could get to that down the road.
Oh yeah, like religion could be messed with later on.
Correct. Religion could be entirely fake. It could be that there are no real entity beings, but that there are gods, but they're just a thought of God.
Well, that's why I think it would be fun to have the idea of dragons, like these almighty being dragons, because everybody thinks of dragons as, hoarders or collectors or entities that just like to have things in their possession. What more of a possession can you have than a universe?
Correct. I'm not against that.
Titans are not a bad idea as well, Mr. Shades. Titans are... But I also feel that Titans would be a farther down the line within a planet itself. Titans are more of something that is a construct from creation, not so much the actual creation itself.
Typically speaking.
I will make a note about Titans for a later date.
With the exception being the Chronos.
Yes.
And the Grecian Titan, which might be what he was talking about, is the capital T Titans, and not like the Titans, and not like the Titans in the way of like giants or Empyreans in D&D.
More so like Titans in the idea of Greek mythology Titans.
Correct. As opposed to the Empyreans and those kind of things that are seen in your D&D monster manual.
That's true.
Because D&D is Titan, or is the physical embodiment of Titans in the D&D verse.
True. Yeah.
So I'm not against that. That is a good idea and a good way that it could be, but I don't know.
Okay, so we got three ideas going right now, kind of shooting around. We got Titans as a concept of creation. We have tie-ins. What is a tie-in? There we go. English. So we have Titans. We have the concept of possibly dragon overlords, and then your typical deity.
Methodology.
The worst part about me being the one typing right now is I have the worst English capabilities of life.
Sure, we'll go with that.
I highly expect to get corrected in the chat a lot, and I'm okay with it. Please correct me. It's fine. I take no offense to being corrected on my my grammar.
And that's the fun part about Google, is it will auto-correct you as well.
You're not
It'll
wrong.
let you know by the red lines.
It'll be like, hey, you fucked up. Fix it.
You Mr. C student in English class.
Well, I was the one that was sitting there reading the, D&D books in English class instead of paying attention to English class.
Yeah, that makes sense. That tracks.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I do like the idea of the dragons. But what if we did the dragons as a trifecta of dragon, where it was the almost like a sun dragon, a moon dragon, and then there could be something going on with like an earth dragon or some kind of thing in that regard, where the earth dragon or other types of material dragons, so fire, water, earth, air, those kind of things, could be what makes up this planet or this world.
Now, are we starting with So the idea that we have, and that we've discussed just a little bit, Gizmo has a, sorry, Gizmo, I keep calling you Gizmo. It's going to screw with me here. Shades has a bit of an idea here, is the world could have come into being via a wizard's spell gone wild due to tampering with components, causing a huge big bang in an alternate dimension, forcing a world and, and life to begin. And the quest is to find out how the world came to be. Now, that is a good campaign plot hook. We're not more so going for how to build a campaign. It's more so the creation of the world itself. So I like that idea for when you're starting to run a campaign in this world, not so much for the creation process, but I like your thinking.
Yes. So some world builders decide to start with a small town and then build out. Yep. Others like to start from the continent and move in. Or
some start with religion.
Some start with religion. Everyone starts in a different place. That's why we started off by saying that we are starting with the nebula, the solar system, the pre-solar system. How did this whole thing
come to be?
We're back in Big Bang time frame about 6 billion years ago?
Yeah, essentially.
Give or take 8, 9, 10 billion. Someone who's better at science than I am and astronomy, go ahead and put it in the chat.
So let's jump back to the concept of the dragons.
Yes.
I'm really, tidbit about me, I have an obsession with dragons. I love dragons. I actually have sitting beside me 3 dragon cosmology books, just because.
And one on your shirt.
No, this is Saint Asonia.
Well, I see draconic wings and a draconic looking tail.
I mean, you're not wrong. It's a Saint Asonia sweater. Saint Asonia, love you guys. You're not going to be listening, so it doesn't really matter.
Yet.
But so back to the concept of the dragons and the tribunal. I love the idea of having a pyramid scheme with dragons. Maybe not like a head dragon that is all powerful and all over being, but the idea of there being a trifecta of 3 that caused the cosmos into creation. In that sense, you would need to have something almost like a dragon of matter, a dragon of like energy, and a dragon of life, if that kind of feng shui's.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's do this. Your dragon of energy idea?
Yeah.
What if we flavored it as like a sun dragon? The sun is the energy source of the planets. So let's backwards engineer that into a dragon to be like a solar sun dragon.
Essentially the first concept. Solar flare.
Correct. And then you said energy, life, and matter, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay. So what if instead of matter we did magic or mysticism?
That's a good way to put it.
So instead, like how D&D, I don't know how much you know about the D&D gods and their mythology and stuff, but
too much.
In D&D lore, and I'm only doing this because I know I'm just drawing parallels for people's understanding.
Yeah.
Little neurodivergent, we're just drawing anecdotes. So what if we replaced essentially Mystra, the goddess of the weave, and the goddess of magic with a some kind of dragon that represented magic and was the life giver and is no longer an actual being, so to speak, because he died in the creation of he sacrificed himself to give magic.
Because you could even have that same concept for the 3 main dragons. All 3 dragons gave up their life entities to cause creation, to
become these cosmic elements. Yes.
Yeah, so like the sun dragon, solar dragon, however you want to word it, essentially erupted its own energy within itself to turn into the first sun of this
Mm-hmm.
of this Cosmo. The magic dragon, which I believe would be you could even go with one of the Fey dragons, like the
There's a dozen ways you could do it. You could even do it as the astral. There's an astral dragon out there.
Yeah,
somewhere.
there is an astral dragon.
Like,
Ooh, good call.
there's a
good
dragon
call.
for everything, bro. Like, sun dragons and moon dragons are actually things.
They are things. Moon dragons
Like-
are great. They're mischievous little bastards.
Thank
Okay,
you,
so-
Dungeon Dad, for providing YouTube videos on those two dragons.
Okay, so let's go. So we have the sun dragon for the first solar flare that erupts. Let's go with an astral dragon for the sense of almost like matter in creation.
Okay.
Or sorry, magic in creation.
Magic in creation. And I'm okay with even tying magic into the fact that everyone would then have access to it. You just have to have been born on this planet to have the access.
Yeah.
Because anything that is from this portion of the multiverse, from this world, would have magical essence imbued in its very DNA because of this dragon's sacrifice.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that a lot. Okay, so let's go with that. So we're gonna use the astral dragon for magic and
creation.
And then the only one that we have, so we have sun dragon for solar flare, for a sense of energy. We have the astral dragon for the creation of magic and creation.
Yep.
Okay, so and energy, and then our last entity would have to be we were saying so sun, magic, creation, and then the last one would be matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like something
matter or mass.
Exactly, something that would cause an embodiment. Let's see, I have fun stuff here. This is one of my favorite all-time books.
Dragonology.
Oh yeah, buddy.
Okay.
So let's have a little deep dive into what we have in here and see what kind of... Ooh, this gives me Dragons of the World. Fun times.
And if anyone has any ideas on what could be the matter dragon or the dragon of mass or rock or whatever,
Shoot them out.
Shoot them out. We're gonna be sitting here talking and thinking about it for a second, but if you guys have ideas, please put them in the chat. So
okay, so
yeah, I saw a dragon that would represent a comet. I saw that one.
That's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea,
but black dragons are
Black dragons are well established.
They are very well established. We would want something that's a little more out of the box.
Right now, we're looking for we're trying to think of the out of the box that's not common or traditional. You know what? What if? Now this could be for the moon or moons. Is the number of dragons we have? Each dragon laid an egg that became the moon, and out of it, someday, eventually, may or may not, hatch a new version of itself, and therefore those can go create a new one, eventually one day.
Yeah, that's not a
pulling
bad
a little
idea.
from Doctor Who for anyone who's seen that episode. I'm pretty sure it was Capaldi.
Yes.
Pretty sure it was
that's not a bad
Capaldi
idea,
with
so-
Bill.
Dragon eggs.
Dragon eggs equal, well, these celestial dragons.
Celestial dragon eggs.
Celestial dragon eggs.
Equal like small planets and moons, like the actual like.
Would equal moons. They're moons surrounding this world.
I like it. I like it a lot. So back
what-
to our third dragon.
Back to our third
we gotta
dragon.
Go back to the third dragon. Okay,
Correct.
so sun, astral, something that would cause matter. Like gravity. So I know there's a type of magic. They used it in Critical Record a lot in Campaign 2. The concept of gravity magic. Now, if we had a gravity dragon, something that has the capacity of controlling matter and bringing matter together, that would be dope as hell.
Okay, then let's go ahead and do that. Put a gravimetric dragon on there.
What?
Gravimetric.
Gravimetric?
Yes, it's the closest one that I can think of. I can't think of what they called it, nor does it matter because I actually haven't really listened to Critical Role. I'm watching the Amazon shit, but I haven't actually watched the show.
I'm not up to date. I'm still going through Campaign 2. But okay, gravimetric dragon. That is a fucked up word, and I like it. It's now part of the world. So for this episode, we're not gonna go into name creations or kind of like that type of history of it, but the actual creation and having the footprint, I think, is more of what we're looking for at the moment. Yeah.
We need to put our first stone in the ground so that next episode we actually have something to work off of.
the first episode's always the hardest because you're trying to pull crap out of your brain from nothing.
Yeah, right. Got to pull it from somewhere.
Yeah, you don't want to know where I pull most of my stuff from. Okay.
Right.
TMI.
Correct. So. What about another troglodyte? It's a Draco troglodyte is what he was talking about.
Now, a Draco, like a death dragon, would be an amazing deity of sorts within the actual...
a Dracolich?
Yeah.
Being the god of undeath?
Yeah.
Knock it in. Put it in.
Done and done.
The first dragon that dies. There we go.
So we're going down to deities. So first dragon that died. Not killed itself, but was killed.
Mm-hmm. And I'm also cool with our draconic lore being they are immortal, but not invulnerable.
I like that.
A la the elves in Lord of the Rings. They can die.
But they don't die of their own accord.
They won't choose to die.
Precisely.
They would have to choose
run out of magic.
Yes.
Okay, so...
Now, if the fucking weave was ever broken, then we got different problems, but...
You just stay where you belong. Border. Okay, so Dracolich, first dragon that was killed by another dragon, became dragon deity of undead. Not deity, deity. Yes, Google, I know how to correct my own spelling. Bugger off, you.
Are you sure?
All right.
Because Google's not.
Screw you, Google. You don't know what I'm trying to say. Okay, I like that. So are we going to stick with the entire dragon cosmology in the sense of power housings and the way that dragons themselves will be the source of all within this world?
I don't think so. I think the oddball dragons would be in that way. They'd be those super powered entities, but like your standard reds and blues and golds
will still just be base.
They would still just be traditional they would still be traditional entities.
Yeah.
They would just have an immortal lifespan unless they were killed.
Okay. And then for actual magic creation and deities themselves that, say, your typical people would worship, that would be more so probably entities that the dragons bestowed power upon within the world and then buffed them up.
We'll get there in a couple episodes. I don't know yet.
I'm jumping the gun. I'm jumping the gun.
I don't know because so these would be primal. This would be the creators. This is the truth of what happened.
Yeah.
What the people believe can be a billion times different.
Whole other story. And how things change over time too, right? How stories evolve and manipulate. As we so know by our own human evolution, we can't keep one story straight for even 100 years.
Like George Washington and his wooden teeth that he didn't really have.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
All right, so back to our cosmos. So we have our sun dragon, we have our astral dragon, we have our gravimetric. I'm never gonna not giggle at that. Our gravimetric dragon. We have celestial dragon eggs that are birthed into the moons that surround the world. The world itself.
Let's go ahead and give this honor to Shades over there. Shades, go ahead and roll a d6 for us and tell us how many moons this planet has.
Ooh. Mr. Shades, I hope you have your dice ready.
Hey, this is an RPG world creation. Come on, bring it. Have your dice. 6. Hells yes.
Moons. Alrighty. Okay, so we have 6 moons to our world.
That's some messed up friggin'
man, our tide problems are gonna be horrible.
Thank you for the tide problems. Jesus, werewolves are gonna be a problem too.
Yeah, they're just always gonna be werewolves. Okay, so because there are now 6 moons, there's almost no chance of it not being bright.
Unless some of them are further away.
Brain explosion. Okay, you ready for this? Have you ever watched Pitch Black?
Maybe.
It's the prequel to the Vin Diesel movie. Now I can't.
The Riddick.
Yeah.
No, I have not.
Okay, so in that movie, I know it's such a good movie. Thank you, Shades. In that movie, essentially, the entire planet is surrounded by 3 suns. So it never gets dark until there is one single eclipse. When everything eclipses for this, I think it's like 4 days is the total eclipse time. These entities from underground spawn, constant darkness, these entities spawn from underground. They have no sense of actual vision, but it's all sonic. And they just go and destroy everything on the planet.
Okay.
We have 6 moons that will constantly reflect a bright, powerful sun. Yeah, I said over 4 years. Oh, I haven't watched it in a while. But the concept of there being 6 moons, 1 powerful sun reflecting light off the moons at all points in time, unless you have extreme cloud cover, that planet is bright as fuck.
It will have a good level of brightness, which means dark vision may not be a thing.
Might not exist unless you are something that delves deep down inside the planet itself.
Correct.
And if you ever come up from there, whoo, that's gonna suck.
Talk about your sunlight sensitivity, bitches. It applies to moonlight too.
It's time to get you some Ray-Bans. Okay, so we have our 6 moons. Of these 6 moons, each moon will be its own celestial dragon. Is that what we're kind of going with? 1 year of darkness.
Yep.
Okay. So each dragon.
So each one would be a different type of celestial style dragon. It could even be a lunar dragon or whatever, because they
are the moons themselves eggs.
Yes.
And they can hatch into dragons.
Correct.
That's horrifying.
Because they hatch, I see them hatching fully grown.
Yeah.
So they would hatch as they're lunar-sized
eggs. They're massive eggs.
That's huge. Just imagine the dragon that laid that.
I'm imagining the campaigns that can be formed around that.
Precisely.
Whew, okay.
And
so
just because
moons,
they're
celestial dragons.
moons does not mean they have to be that they don't have to be inhabitable.
No, things can live on moons.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay.
Let's go. So we've got 5 people in here. Who else wants to roll a d6 and tell us how many of these moons are habitable? Aside from Shades.
Who else we got in this lovely chat of ours? Anybody want to say hi? No?
If not, that's okay. We'll just... Aha! Thank you, Damiel?
That would be one of my other lovely players.
Okay. Damiel says 3. 3 of them are habitable moons.
Okay, so 6 moons, 3 are habitable.
Yep. Habitable. And we'll figure out what they're inhabited with later. We have no idea. We were not even we had never even thought of how many moons this thing was going to have until just now.
We didn't even know that this was going to be a dragon-based solar system.
No.
I love it.
This is terrifying.
I know, this is great.
This is terrifying.
Okay, so we have 6 moons, 3 can be lived on. That's a happy place. Our sun is a sun dragon that has consumed its own energy into itself and erupted into a solar flare.
Yep.
Okay. We have the astral dragon, which how do we want the astral dragon to kind of go and create magic?
So the way I'm seeing it is kind of like I think it was Superman 2 where they zoom out and he just spins around the world so fast you actually start seeing the lines.
Okay. See, I almost had a black hole concept where the astral dragon started to breathe in and was sucking everything into itself, like the all concept of magic around it in, and then expels it, causing itself to turn into a black hole. But the black hole, instead of sucking in, expels magic out.
So a white hole.
Yes.
Because a white hole is actually a scientific thing.
Yes.
A scientific theoretical entity that would do just that with matter. It spews matter out.
Yes.
Google it.
No, I'm laughing at Shades over here making comments about how the astral or the sun dragon was a cannibal.
A very hungry cannibal who ended up eating himself.
He was a hungry cannibal. Okay, so astral dragon.
Firstly, I was seeing him. I was seeing the magical dragon, the astral dragon, slowly dissolving himself into a web. Almost like the atmosphere itself is contained by the magic.
So you're thinking more so on a single planetary basis.
Correct.
Okay.
So the people of the moons would not have magic.
Okay. See, I was thinking more about a wider span of like the entire cosmology of it instead of just a singular point.
Okay. Well, a white hole would work too.
So, but if we want so that the moons themselves don't have that entity or that power behind them, you could make it so that the white hole only ejects it in a singular line. So anything within that linear line gets the capability of the magic. So when the moons shift and they hit the line, they gain magic. When they shift back out, they lose it.
Okay. I like the idea. And to do that, let's go ahead and put that at the middle of the sun.
So the white hole's at the center of the sun?
Center of the sun. It's emitting in 2 different points in a straight line going essentially east to west.
Okay. I
and
can dig that.
So everything has to line up for magic to circulate into.
Unfortunately, so I'm gonna build on top of that idea.
Okay.
No. I love the idea of it being in the center of the sun, but instead of singular lines, a sphere. Not a sphere, a disc.
Yeah. A radiant disc. That way it affects the entire.
Yeah.
Orbit.
So it's not just like a single line that shoots out, but it's like taking like a plate, and it just kind of like orbits around it. So depending on how it's going, it will hit certain aspects of it. So at one point in time, if the sun turns in a certain direction, or if the actual planet lines up, the entire planet plus all the moons will get hit all at the same time, which could cause a hatching.
Correct. Certain and celestial happenings would only happen every few thousand years. And welcome to Draco Arcano Pseudoscience 100.
Okay, so let's get this written down so that we don't brain fart it.
Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna put this way down here at the bottom because that is its own source of shenanigans. All right. Mm-hmm. So let's word this.
Okay.
We have Astral Dragon, white hole
is at the heart of the sun.
Heart. Come on, English.
Heart
at the heart of the sun.
Don't give people my password to things.
Me hurt. Okay, so Astral Dragon, white hole, heart of the sun, causing magic radiation.
Mm-hmm.
In a, what would that be called?
In a disc shape that in a disc radius that is the distance the planet is away from the sun, or within the Goldilocks zone, or whatever, right?
Okay.
Whatever their habitable region is. So if the planet shifts a little bit, it won't lose access to magic. But if the planet were to be moved about half a light year, you're going to have problems.
Bye-bye, magic.
Correct.
We don't know yet, damn y'all. We don't know yet.
So we do. It's pulling from the life force of that.
Oh yeah, it's pulling from the dragon. Yeah.
It pulled from the dragon. The dragon created this white hole and is sitting at the center of it, spewing magic like it's like a breath weapon.
Yeah. And because it's such a powerhouse entity, it just, as far as we know, has an unlimited source. As far as we know.
As far as we are saying today.
Yeah.
Ask us again in about 6 months.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Right?
Okay, I love that. That is a solid creation.
That is a solid creation truth, not a creation myth. A creation truthology.
When we get down to myth making, whoo, that's gonna be some fun stuff. Okay, so that's our
so many
dragon.
lies.
I know.
So many lies.
Okay, so back to our sun dragon, since we didn't write him down.
Yes.
So sun dragon is we said that was his own.
Astral dragon's female, the sun dragon's male. You do the math. Where's the energy coming from? Right there, baby. Sex magic.
And that's how the moon dragons were made.
Exactly. Hey, you were wondering where the magic came from. I've been watching The Magicians lately. Sex magic is a viable option.
It is powerful. There's a lot of energy in there. And according to the Matrix, you can use human souls as energy sources.
I mean, we're not going to say that that's not happening.
Okay.
Enter the Matrix.
Okay, so we're gonna have the astral dragon. You want male?
Yeah, let's do the astral the astral's female.
Astral's female.
The solar is male.
Okay, so the sun's okay. We're gonna rename him Solar. Solar dragon is male, Solar dragon. So are we going to stay with the... Don't give us funny faces, okay? So the solar dragon, are we still wanting to go with the concept that the solar dragon, like our dear friend over there, Shades, decided to elegantly put, cannibalized himself?
I'm actually leaning more towards the fact that they may still be alive.
So it's
Because
just
of what
the energy that pumps out of itself just creates a sun.
Yes.
Okay.
If he ever were to stop mating with this astral dragon, who knows what would happen to the sun?
Okay, so male dragon, alive, banging a lot. Sounds good to me.
You know, in the life of an immortal, what's the equivalent of 30 minutes? Or 5 hours? You know, what's the equivalent? No one knows.
Well, yeah. He's banging to stay alive. He's almost like a prey mantis.
He is a bard.
He's a prey. He's a prey mantis. If he stops banging the female, he's gonna lose his head.
That's fair. I'm down with that idea. He's trying to keep himself alive.
He's banging for life. Banging a lot to survive. Cool.
Hey.
It's canon now.
You would too if it meant life or death.
And the ironic part is, if they stop banging and he dies, so does everything else.
I mean, you know, that's one long copulation. I think he might hold the world record on. Oh.
No, he's not fluffing himself. We're not going there. Okay, this is not turning into a sex talk.
No, that's the last of that.
Yeah,
anyway,
we are done with that. We are moving on.
New topic. All right. So the eggs are both there, and okay, and then the gravimetric dragon, or gravity dragon, whatever you want to simplify itself.
It's a gravimetric dragon. Okay, you named it. That's what we're fucking going with.
It is. So the gravimetric dragon is he just killed himself. He is the planet.
See, I don't want to say he killed himself. I would rather go so much to the fact that he is laying dormant, and the concept of his existence and being is just pulling things to him.
Okay.
Because I like the idea of all three of them being alive.
Fair.
So that if one of them is removed from the system, everything crashes.
Yes, I like that.
Because like the concept of causes being caused by a lack of one of the sources spells doom.
Yes. So he's alive. He just basically turned himself into the iron core of the planet.
Gravimetric. I can hear a song forming in my head about this dragon. Gravimetric dragon laying dormant.
Yes.
So it's laying dormant, and it's dormant. How do we work this?
It's dormant, and it's been dormant so long that it's dormant and massive. It is an inherently massive entity. If it stopped long enough and fell asleep, that matter just collected around it due to the massive gravity of the entity itself. It's essentially a living black hole dragon.
Ooh, so we have a white hole dragon, a black hole dragon, and a fucking dragon.
And a solar sexy dragon.
Ooh, I can see some fun fan art coming out of that one.
I mean, go ahead and get started, guys. It's fine.
Okay, so laying dormant, and its gravity causes all matter to
coalesce,
to gather to it, causing planet formation.
Yep.
Done skis. Awesome. I'm loving it.
Now here's the question that brings us to is, did other planets form in this same accretion disk, so to speak?
They would have had to at some point.
Same solar system, did others form? Because if this one dragon is essentially a black hole sucking as much matter towards it as feasibly possible, how big's the planet?
Depends on how old the planet is.
Correct. And the age of so all asteroids and comets and meteors would have to collapse. There is no grazing the surface. It just boom, comes straight in within a certain radius.
In essence, because it depends on the level of the gravity that it's giving off. It could be giving off just like waves. So there's like pulses, almost like a breath. So the breath of the dragon as it's slumbering, like, is like every time it breathes out, it pushes matter away, and every time it breathes in, it pulls matter in. So there's almost like waves of gravity that are kind of sucking in and sucking out within the universe itself that are forming other little mini planets around it, which is why the moons themselves come in, come out.
So the moons have a tide of themselves, and now you just fucked our tides all together.
Yeah.
Because now they don't have a static orbit. They have a sine or cosine wave. Come on. I do not want to live on the moon that has a tangent wave.
Oh, no.
Jeez. Okay.
Man, the residents of these planets and these moons are going to be some very messed up people. Okay.
Bro. Dude, part of our conversation we'd had at the beginning of this was that we were going to play games in this world at some point.
Yeah. Do we want to share that little tidbit that we wanted to do?
Apparently, I just did.
So our goal, after we finish this entire process of building, which could take us a year, 2 years, God knows how long, we want to, as GMs of our individual podcasts, to run shows separately with our groups on the same planet at the same time and see what transpires.
Creating the ultimate cluster bomb.
And talk the entire time as GMs as to what our idiots are doing.
Correct.
By the way, idiots, I love you.
What happens on one is going to... No, you cannot reroll for the moons. That's why we didn't tell you at first.
But the best
just
part
wait till we have you guys roll for continents.
Continents or monsters that live in the areas, or religion bases. Ooh, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be lots of fun. Okay, so back to our gravimetric dragon. Let's get him written down so that we have all that information locked in. So laying dormant, and why is there a W in there? Go away, W. You don't exist. Its gravity caused all matter to gather to it, causing planet formation. The dragon's breathing. Breathing. I just got so confused. I just saw extra writing on there. I'm like, whoa, wait, what's going on here?
Hey, you wanted me to type some things in too, so.
I just didn't know you were logged in. So the dragon's breathing is, I don't want to say sporadic.
No, but it's rhythmic. It would be rhythmic for sure. Because sporadic means the thing's about to die.
That's very true. It's having heart attacks, heart palpitations. So dragon's breath is rhythmic, causing waves or pulses.
Yes.
Of gravitational pull.
Which also means that when we get to the moons that are actually habitable, how are they habitable when they're like ebbing and flowing and like they do this number through their orbit? How is that a habitable system?
It's gonna be like in Starfield. They all live underground, so they're coring into the dragon egg itself. And if they core too deep, well, they're gonna get a surprise.
Oh, jeez.
Can you imagine if one of them decides, like one of the moons, they just decide to start mining?
I was just thinking any set of dwarves.
Yeah, they're just gonna start mining a dragon egg.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's so bad. And like the best part would be, so just say, 10,000, 12,000, a millennia comes along. All of a sudden, a new moon is just gonna like, pop, out of the sun.
Yeah, it'll just...
It just floats over and joins the rest of them. But dwarves love diggy holes.
Hey, the Balrog in this case is a dragon. Even if they dig to the center of this planet, they will run into a sleeping
no matter
dragon.
where you dig. So if there are drow in this world and they live underground, they might be worshipping a dragon entity instead of like a spider queen. Ooh.
Who knows? This is going to be some real fun lore to write.
Oh God, yeah, I am thoroughly excited, and I'm excited for all of you to join us on all of this creation. It is so much fun having not just me and Eric's minds, but our chat's minds to throw these extra ideas at us. Oh
yeah, I've seen where we have up to 5 others in the chat. Aside from, I'm logged in as us in the Twitch right now.
Yeah.
So aside from that, there's up to 5 others, or right now there's 3. So we've got other minds in here, so that's definitely going to be interesting. And
share it with your friends. Let other people know that this lovely show is happening and that their input does matter. This is a stream where your input matters. You are helping us forge a world. Okay, so we have our creation. We have our 3 main dragons. Oh, you're the best. We have our 3 main dragons. We have the concept of our moons. We have the concept of our planet and the sun. Is there anything else in the cosmos themselves that we want to have formed?
I think right now we're good.
Like, do we want to push anything towards the concept of stars? Or stars just stars?
Stars are stars. They would just be other parts of the, I'm going to say the multiverse, because that's the easier term, but the other planets and stuff that are out there that exist within this, within the astral sea, or the great blank space, or whatever the grouping of peoples that you're asking, call it.
I like it.
Because I think everyone would have a different name for space.
They would, yeah.
So
my final Cosmo question for you would come down to, when these 3 dragons came into this, we'll call it a realm, I guess you want. Did they tear into the realm? Did they close it behind them? Did they leave it open? Is there an access port that other realms can come into this one?
So I'm going to say let's hold that question. Because I like the thought, because that allows for aberrations and Cthulhu monster type nonsense to be out there that could just invade at any point. But I also kind of like the idea of attaching it to the traditional sense of the astral sea.
Yeah.
And therefore it just plugs in as a part of anyone's D&D universe that they could run into.
That's a good idea.
And I'm using D&D in the colloquial of the RPG space. So whatever game you're running, you could just drop
into it. Yeah.
Drop into the world.
Insert. Wait. Insert here.
Correct.
Awesome.
So,
I like it. I did not expect us to get this much made.
I know, right? And we still have another. We're still going to be here for. We're going to still be for another hour.
Yeah, we got another hour.
So, next question is, Elementals.
Okay.
Elementals are as old as the
Old as
cosmos themselves. What's their core deal? Are they stuck on their planes? Do we even bother with them right now?
I wouldn't bother with them as of yet. Actually, you know what?
Okay.
Fuck it. Let's go with it. Let's dive.
Okay.
Let's deep dive, man.
Let's start with the multiplanes. Let's do it.
Okay. So, in my, I would say that the planes are interchangeable, and that there is the concept of them tapping in and touching with the material plane per se. That's just the best way to describe it.
We're talking planes now, so yes.
Yeah. So I've always kind of looked at it like in your base D&D lore or even Pathfinder or anything like that. I've always enjoyed the concept the way that Warhammer does it, where the actual planes meld with one another, and that there are open sources so that each can kind of touch with one another. You don't need like a key to get into one, or you don't need magic to dive into it.
If you just walk far enough, you'll get there.
You find a portal. Like there's a portal. Like maybe there's a volcano somewhere on the planet where there is a gateway that will lead you into the Nine Hells, or that will lead you to the fire plane. That makes it a lot more fun, I guess you could say, to be able to have elementals leaving their plane and coming onto the material plane and interacting with the material plane.
But they could totally be stopped because they have a choke point.
Precisely.
Well, this incursion could be stopped because there's a choke point. Doesn't mean that that's the only choke point, but...
So that would cause the denizens of the material plane to almost band together to lock these certain areas. Almost like a Legend of Zelda concept, where like you have your Zora in one domain that control the water. You have your Gorons in one area that control fire. You have your, you know, that
Gerudos that are the desert.
Precisely.
The Kokiri, which are the forests, and so on.
So having those little regions that would control and have thrived because of the axis of the elemental planes.
Okay.
That just gives me a happy little, makes me want a happy dance.
Yeah, because if the dwarves happened upon a portal to the elemental plane of fire, maybe that's how they power a bunch of their technology.
Forges. Yeah.
No, their technology. Like they could use
even the tech itself, right?
Who needs eternal combustion if you've got a fire elemental?
Yeah.
Like who needs to have fire if you have an air elemental to power your airships?
I like it.
Like there's a ton of different ways to take care of that. So our material plane, we've definitely got a material. I do like the idea of tying it into the astral. If you scroll down, I've got a list of the planes
well, there we go.
starting that I have ideas for. It's just astral material, fire, water, earth, air.
Now, when you're saying material, what is your concept there?
So the material would be the planet. So the other thing it could be is the plane of unity.
The actual, okay, the material plane.
Yes.
I thought too hard into it.
Yes, you thought way too far.
I was just like,
way too far.
We have fire? We have... Wait, what is material? Is this just like, you know, a little gnome sitting there, like, making stuff?
Yes.
Just
that's the plane of tinkering.
One gnome sitting on his own little planet, just like, this is my planet now, bitches. I'm making boxes.
No, the gnome is the one who sent the dragons. It's fine.
It's all because of the gnome. He did it all. It's all his fault.
His name is George.
Oh, fucking George.
All hail George.
It's always George.
The god of gods.
Sure it's not Henry. Or Frank. I don't know. Frank the Tank.
It could be Chad. I don't know.
Okay.
Frank the fucking Tank.
I have to do a call back to our one show.
Hey, you know, Frank the Tank's a fucking beast.
Since we are at the halfway point,
how
about we do some shout outs?
Okay.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I would like to shout out the Chaos Den. That is the podcast that I myself run. I have currently 3 lovely shows that we do. One of them is the Shattered Memories campaign, where you have a bunch of wannabe heroes that awaken and don't know what the fuck is going on. They get sent out in the world to go explore and regain their memories. I have campaign 2, which is Rise of the Ancient King, where a bunch of misfit heroes go on an adventure to collect scales of ancient dragons in hopes of gaining enough power to essentially take down an ancient Lich King. I have show number 3, which is the After Dark show, where me and my lovely wife, and plug in here, she has a Instagram called Chaos and Threads. Go check her out. We sit down here at this table and play some lovely board games and just cause shenanigans. Right now we're running the Bedlam of Neverwinter, which is right here behind me. It is a fantastic puzzle game. I highly recommend it. But if you listen to the podcast and you listen to us, unfortunately you won't be able to play it because it's a one-time kind of playthrough game. So either play it yourself or come listen to me. I highly recommend listening to us because we are funny as hell. Eric, what do you do?
So I'm about to put links in for both shows into the chat. That way people can
find us and click us.
Yes.
And love us long time.
Long time, short time, depends on the show quality.
Regardless of my show quality, I posted it anyways. And a shout out to my editor, who is currently in our chat, Mr. Dem Y'all. He does all of our editing on our episodes, and he's fantastic, and we love him very, very much. Hello!
All right. There we go. I just sent a link down in the chat here so you guys can check out both shows. I'm Eric. I'm the DM for the Hebridian Tales. I have been doing this for almost 2 years now, and I think we are almost I don't remember where we are. Doesn't matter. Anyway, we are a multi-show podcast as well, but all of our groups are in share the same space-time. So they're all dealing in the same rough timeline, and what happens in one group affects everybody. So definitely check us out. I would highly recommend starting with Chapter 2. Don't worry about Chapter 1. Ignore Chapter 1. Chapter 2 sounds way better. Way better.
But we all have to start somewhere.
Correct. But there's a lot of growth in there, and you can ignore that and jump into Chapter 2, no problems. If you want to hear the where we started, you're welcome to do so.
That's just like me with Ancient King. Our Ancient King first 10 episodes is just brutal. But you got to start somewhere.
Correct.
And then you grow, turn into something pretty.
And if you guys have questions about it, you're welcome to ask.
Yeah, feel free to ask
in the chat. But
unless you're Gizmo.
Gizmo has no questions.
Oh, Gizmo has questions, but I'm not going to answer them.
Oh, well, that's fair.
Okay, so
I heard rumor there's a Gremlins 3 coming out.
I did too. Yeah, but I love you, so it's okay.
Yes, it is according to IMDb, it is currently in development.
Ooh.
So there you go. Gizmo will rise again. Maybe.
Yeah, except in my campaign, Gizmo was actually a tree.
Oh, well, Gizmo can burn then.
More than you know.
I mean, burning hands, it's a thing.
I did burn Gizmo.
So back to the planes.
Back to our planes. Let's jump back into our creation.
I definitely think we should include a Feywild, the Fey realm of some kind.
Oh yeah, you definitely need to have a magic realm to it.
Correct. And since we can't use a moon because they don't have access to magic, we've got to create a new plane for it.
Well, I mean, it could be, because there's nothing saying that, okay, so here's a fun idea. The gateway to the astral plane is on all 6 moons. But
Okay.
only one moon at a time has magical capabilities. So therefore the gateway to the Fey realm changes.
Not against it.
That way getting to the Fey would be very hard.
Just as tricky
as it should be.
Or the gate spell.
Or the gate spell. Yeah. that always works too.
Or plane shift. I mean, that works.
Yeah. But like just having having it so, because like the Fae should always be one of those areas that is naturally hard to reach just because of its deep magical capabilities. So putting it on the moons I think is a fun idea, and it really fucks with people.
I'll put a note on here. Access point.
Moons?
Lunar access point.
Lunar access point, yeah.
And then
that would give people reasons to live on the moon, because they're trying to gain access to the Fae at different points of time.
It also means that like your Furbolgs and your Eladrin would live on the moons as well. It kind of helps us build our world a little bit more intricately. I'm also okay with one of the moons actually being in such a way, one of the habitable moons specifically, being set up in such a way that it actually lines up with the disk, that it always has access to magic like the planet. So it's on essentially.
It's on that sphere.
Correct. It might be off kilter just a little bit, so there might be like a day or two where it doesn't. But
that's when they have their festivals.
Yes, because there's still magic. Let's bake cookies.
Let's bake cookies and muffins.
And don't be born on those days.
Oh God, no! You'd be like the shunned people of the moon. You were born on the eclipse. You don't deserve life.
It's like a leap year. It's like a leap day.
They might just start.
You only have a birthday every 5 years.
Religion base. We have to sacrifice the unborn, the ones that were born on the moon, that weren't touched by the untouched. This is like they're the unsullied.
all the unseelie are the Fae that aren't touched. Yeah, there you go. There's all kinds of lore. See, it's already just coming out.
It's just happening.
It's just happening.
Poor bastards.
Now, on the antithesis of the Fae, we have the Shadowfell, the Shadow Dark, the negative energy plane, whatever we want to call it.
Yeah.
Would be hidden in there. But how do we want to deal with? What do we want to call it, first of all?
That's a good one. So we have the Fae, which is awesome. Everybody deserves to have the Fae.
I chose FAE spelling. However, there's 400 spellings and they're all both right and wrong. So,
like the Shadow Realm is pretty solid, just because of the fact that if you have the Fae, which would be the light, and then shadows would be the negative. So if you have, so when the planets, when the moons align with the sun in such a way, they gain the magical capabilities. But on the uninhabitable planet or uninhabitable moon that doesn't have the magical capabilities, that could be where the Shadow Realm is accessible by.
Okay.
So on that one day where you have your moon that is typically touched at all times is no longer touched, that could be a time when the Shadow Gate opens.
Yeah, uninhabitable or non-magically
touched. That sounds dirty.
Only because you made it that way.
Yep, that's my mind. That's what I do.
Show me on the doll where the bard touched you.
Right here, and right here. Sir, you just pointed to everywhere. I know.
Hey. Bards do bards.
Yeah.
No one can argue with bards.
I already know about horny birds. Not once again
I've-
touching onto my campaign, Mr. Devwall.
Yeah, there's so much that can be used. All right, so we've got earth, air, water, fire.
So I like the idea of taking the standard 4 elemental and doing kind of like that Legend of Zelda-esque idea where they're kind of like on like the 4 points of the planet. Or it doesn't even have to be 4 points. Like you could have water and fire fucking right beside each other, and they're just constantly battled like they would in like Avatar.
Okay.
But that
And it could,
that doesn't really like we can work that out when we actually get to planet creation.
or we could always leave it to the every DM up for themselves on how the planes are, because the planes are on their own, and some people use the D&D mythos where it's alternating, and therefore they gradually gradiate into each other.
Yeah.
Some use every DM's got their own preference for realms, but if we're just giving them what the realms are, this is just an example that they can use.
Now I
don't like them being separate. I do like that they are essentially the elemental plane is its own plane, but I don't know how.
But what I mean is by the
detail.
actual access points within the planet
Oh,
itself
the
to
access
the planes.
points. Yes.
So where
The
the
access points we can map.
yeah, so those would be mapped out on the planet when we get to the actual map creation of the planet itself. Where they are in existence, that's irrelevant. Like I agree with you wholeheartedly. That is totally up to the GM's choice on whether they want to be, close within a proximity of each other in the magical existence. That's open to interpretation. But where they are and how they're actually located on the material plane for the access points, I think they should only have one access, but having a deeper access would also be kind of fun, making it so that you could have.
So what if we did this and the access points were, and I used this in my show, is ley lines.
Yeah.
Using a ley line map based on the elements.
Yeah.
So there's
again touching back based on Critical Role, Age of Calamity, they did the same kind of thing with ley lines and magical capabilities. So that's definitely a sourceable way of doing it.
Yeah, so where two fire lines intersect, it's easier to access the plane than if you were not at an intersection.
Well, not so much that it'd be easier, it's just like that is where the access point is, like period, the end. Like
correct.
If these two lines line up, there is a gate.
And if there isn't one actively there, it's easier to brute force one to be there. Or
plan for one to be there.
Correct.
Because you can sit there and know that in 40, 50 years, that's where the access gate's going to open, unless for some reason the ley lines change.
Correct. Which is not an impossibility.
No. Everything is possible, especially in D&D.
Especially in a world that doesn't exist yet.
I mean, that's besides the point. Okay, so I definitely like that idea that the ley lines cause access gates to the planes, whether it be fire, earth, whatever your heart desires. It is so funny to watch somebody else just typing. I don't know why I'm amused by that. Okay.
Ley line accessible is just the way I'm putting it for the planes.
No, that makes sense. That makes sense. That's understandable and legible.
Does anyone in chat have any idea for other planes that we maybe are missing? Yeah.
We have, just so everybody knows, we have the possibility of an astral, which would be amusing. Fire, earth, air, water, I don't know.
Fire, earth, air, water, fey, and shadow.
Yes, Fey, air. Yeah, I missed those two. Whoops.
It's all right.
Okay, so I think that's pretty solid for at the moment. And then the idea that they have it's a two-way port. They can come in, they can come out. We can go in, we can go out. That would also be fun to think that because that these material planes have open access ports, that's how creation within the world began forming. Because you have your astral dragon that's just causing matter to swarm to this core, but now you have the elementals that are kind of leaving their planes because they now have ley line access, and they're the ones that are causing the creation on the actual planet itself. They're the ones causing fire and earth to grow. They're causing water to grow plants. They're causing, like, even if you're pulling the astral sense, that's where the magic also gets pulled in as well. When they come in from, say, what the hell did you call it? The Gravotech dragon?
Gravimetric?
Gravimetric. I see, I can't say that without laughing. There's going to be a poll in our chat at how many times I say that and laugh in an episode.
Every. It's not even a poll.
Yeah, no.
For a counter.
No, I want it to be a counter. I want to know how many times I say it and giggle, because it's going to be somewhere the fuck up here.
Right? Elementals created everything on the surface.
Yeah.
So that leads into elementals actually being the true creators of the planet.
Later, Gizmo, DJ Shades. Thanks for joining us on the show. We appreciate it, and we appreciate your input. And hopefully you can catch us next time, my dude.
We'll be here next week, every week after that.
Every Monday at 8 o'clock, you can catch us here on our stream doing shenanigan bullshit.
All right. So that means that on so cosmologically, the celestial dragons created all the shit.
Yeah.
But on the planet's surface, the planet itself, maybe or maybe not, its inhabitants were created by elementals, fey, and shadow.
Yeah. I like that.
I'm gonna put including shadow and fey. But that means that fey creatures, not fey creatures, but fey creations and shadow creations would be much rarer.
They would be. Which is perfect, because they should be
good.
rarer. Yeah, they should be rare. So you'll have little pockets on the planet that are just vibrant with it. But getting to them would probably be damn near impossible, or even known to most common people.
Yeah.
I like it.
Okay. Lots of good stuff so far, and we just have a basic 7 or 8 planes right now.
Yeah.
Now, there's of course infinite demi-planes within the planes and so on and so forth. Oh yeah,
like there's definitely going to be other like pocket planes that get created either by wizards or by other magical creations, or combinations of two planes kind of merging on a same. Ooh, can you imagine if two planes merge on one ley line and the gates open on top of each other? All of a sudden, just say like you get like earth and water, you get the plane of mud.
So that gives me the idea then of, so we have the elemental planes, we have the material plane, we've got the, I'm going to say, questionable astral plane, but what happens when people die?
Yeah, we're gonna need almost like a death pocket, which is where our Draco Lich comes into play,
Yes.
right?
So do we do hell in the abyss as well as like a equal places for good and neutral?
Almost like a purgatory.
Yeah, like how do we set up the afterlife?
That's a good question. So in that sense, like the idea, you do need a sense of like the hells, whether you have the 9 level of the hells as is traditional. I've always been a fan of the 9 hells and having like, you know, the deeper in hell of the levels that you are is the more corrupt and evil that you are. But also just having one single plane where everybody gets thrown in and gets fucked is a great idea because it causes so much shenanigans and chaos.
It can.
So in that sense, you could call it the chaos plane.
So I'm not against that, but then what about order on the opposing end of things?
So on the opposing end of things, you could almost have it be like the light plane.
Okay. So I'm not against the realms of order and chaos, but I don't see them as attached to death like that in my personal thoughts. Okay. I like the idea of limbo.
Like a purgatory, yeah.
And in limbo, it could also be called like the Gray Wastes or whatever, right? Everyone goes there, and then they their soul
gets
judged or whatever, like in many mythologies here on Earth. Yeah. And good go to their gods or deities or whatever. They go up to a good place, or
down
to one of the versions of hell that we have.
Okay, so let's. I like the word that you used there for the sense of the purgatory, the waste.
Yes,
that I think that is a great terminology to use for a place that souls get kind of sent to.
And the other thing is I put limbo in there before that as a parenthetical, so we understand in our own notes
what it means,
what the concept is. And the Gray Wastes is one of the many names
that it will be
that
used
the people will call it.
Yeah.
And as we go through and we build these cultures and stuff way down the road,
they're all going to have different terminology
in here. Yeah, we're going to come back in here. We're going to not retype, but add in here other lines and names of other things that people call it.
Yeah.
Other terminology. That way we have it all cohesive and coherent for anything that we use
when
or
we turn it into a book.
Or even fucking play with it.
Yeah, well, mainly play with it so that we can look at our own notes and be like, oh, what was this for?
What is this called? Oh, yeah, let me check on page 1 of my notes.
Yeah, once we get more into the breakdown of the actual the world creation, we probably will start like page changing how everything gets put into place. We'll have to organize.
We'll meet up at another point and off camera and just paginate and reorganize.
Oh, hell, I think it would even be fun to do it in a live stream. Just put an entire 2-hour live stream of just having input on where people think things should go within the organization. Because I think that is one thing that a lot of people do have struggle with when they are homebrewing is organization. True. So
yeah, so let's do it. We'll do it.
To see how 2 GMs, like I've been homebrewing my own world now for about a year and a half, like Arcalen, and you've been homebrewing Hebridian for 2 years. So between the two, 5 years. Oh,
I've been working on the world for 5 years.
So being able to show even newer GMs who are first stepping foot into this massive project, being able to show them how we do it might help out a lot of people kind of get that idea of how to organize and build campaign worlds for themselves.
Yes. So I definitely do think we have hell options, and one of the hell options would definitely be like the 9 hells, right?
Yeah, well, definitely, like the 9 hells is your typical hell. You could even call it hellscapes.
Yeah, there we go, hellscapes. And we'll figure out what each group calls it, and they will be different. And they can be different entities or just names for the same entity. We'll figure all that out. But there will be hellscapes and heavenscapes. So essentially, in D&D terms, it'd be your outer planes.
Yeah.
So there will be hells and heavens. But Limbo contains the City of Justice, or some kind of justice entity or judgment.
Yeah. Yeah, because you definitely need to have your sense of, your scales, right?
Yes.
You could even call it the City of Scales, because that would bring back a little bit of the dragon terminology back into it. But at the same time, it gives the idea of an actual material scale, but also a play on words because scales.
And the proper name of it and all that we'll figure out.
Yeah, we'll figure that
later
all
when
out
we
once
get to the plane.
Once we get to the meat and potatoes of it.
Yup. Potato. Boil them, mash them, stick them in a stew. Send them to Limbo, and how do you do? Whatever. So,
do you season your potatoes with just a little bit of garlic?
I don't typically actually eat potatoes.
Oh, potatoes are a favorite pastime of mine. I definitely will. I will mash potatoes and baked potatoes and even barbecued potatoes. Although
my fiance does them too.
Recently, we got an air fryer. You slice up some potatoes and you throw them in an air fryer with a little bit of olive oil and some garlic. You're making homemade French fries.
Yeah, it sounds delicious. I have an air fryer. I just don't do it.
Yeah, I don't cook either. My wife does all the cooking.
So Limbo, we've got Hellscapes, Heavens, of course.
Do we want to go Hellscapes and Heavenscapes? So it's the same essence.
I can put escapes on there, yeah.
Because it is escaping the real world. Like you're dying, you're escaping to another plane of almost existence.
Correct. So Limbo, Heaven, Hell. Trying to think. I'm going through in my head of the different planes of the multiverse that are out
usually
there.
Played with.
Yeah, usually messed with. If anyone has any, please put them in chat.
What about a plane of war?
I'm not against a plane of war, but that could be a heaven or a hellscape too.
Yeah. And you know what? That probably would be a hellscape.
Not hell, it's a hellscape. War.
Yeah, because like war is, it's not a good thing. Like nobody likes war. It's a bad thing. And if you are a entity who thrives on causing chaos, causing war, causing havoc, discord, yeah, you could even call it havoc.
Order, discord, or we have the one of order, then we have the one of discord, havoc, chaos, whatever colloquialism people want to use.
Disorder kind of deal.
The exact opposite of order.
No, that's pretty good. Now, would that be, so would havoc and disorder and chaos, would that be another hellscape, or would that be another separation?
Those would be, order and discord would be total cogs in the
they would be opposites of each other.
Cosmological wheel. Yeah.
Okay.
So I think we're on a, so opposite of war would be peace.
You'd even
for Heavenscape.
Tranquility.
Actually, so technically, the opposite of war isn't peace, it's creation. Anyone who's watched Rent knows this. But, you know, La Vie Boheme was... And I'm okay with creation being a heavenscape. That would be dope. That would be fun. Gnomes and shit.
Gnomes, dwarves.
Correct. All those crafting.
Anything that tinkers.
Yeah, all the any blacksmith.
Well, even elves, right? Like elves would be doing the same thing because they are very big on creation and very big on a heavenscape would be almost like nature.
Nature could definitely be one. Time, fate, all of that. Would that be its own plane, or would it be tied into order?
I think that would be its own plane.
Okay.
Because like time is wibbly wobbly.
Just like our lunar orbits.
Precisely. And like that would even probably like as a you could even have it so much like diving a little bit deeper into things that we haven't talked about yet, going into deities. A lot of these planes could have deities of their own, which they probably will. And if you have time and fate as a deity, that would definitely be something that the lunar residents would probably worship.
In theory?
In theory, because a lot of what they're basing their life on is time and fate of the sun lining up with their moon to give them the magical capabilities of gaining entry into the Fae in order to pull resources to live on the moon.
Yep. But it could also be an evil god if it was the one that, for that one planet that is in line
with the shadow,
that always has magic, and then it becomes the exact opposite. And it's like, I hate time.
Right? Like, a good deity could also be a bad deity. Depends on who you are.
Right? Lolth is a bad person.
For some people.
No, that's it. Just Lolth is a bad person.
She just likes chaos and disorder.
Lolth is a bad person.
I like Lolth. I've always enjoyed reading the Spider Queen books.
Yes, but if you had to actually believe in her as a god, the penalty for not believing in for a drought to not believe in her is to become a driter.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. But she gives you lots of magical capabilities.
Until you have a crisis of faith, and then you become a driter.
Just don't have a crisis of faith, okay?
Correct.
We've got a lot of the hell or of the heavenscapes. Like we got peace, creation, and nature.
Yes.
Let's jump a little bit into the hellscapes to try and balance out that order. So with hell, you have your typical 9 hells, which would be your deadly sins. So you have like gluttony.
I'm putting those in greed, gluttony.
Well, that's what I was about to get into. Is do we want to have the deadly sins as its own scape? So instead of it being split into a big faction, like multiple factions, have it one large faction where anyone who has died because of their sins, that's where they go.
Yeah. So I'm actually going to put this one in here too. War/Valhalla would be the same plane. It's a hellscape on the cosmological sense.
Yeah, but a lot of people look at Valhalla as a they're happy to go to Val. Okay, I see what you're doing.
Correct.
I see what you're doing there.
Correct. But what are they going to Valhalla for?
To fight.
In?
War. Yeah.
Ragnarok.
Okay. I got you. I'm following
If you actually read Norse mythology, they're there to be summoned. They're there to fight every day, be reborn every day, and then at the end of days, they are the army of the gods to go fight one last time.
Ooh, that's deep. I like it.
Like you have to know a lot of mythology to know that deep.
Yeah. That is very deep. I like it. What about
I'm
a hellscape?
I'm a mythos nerd.
What about souls? Like an actual like a plane of souls?
So, I was
guess-
seeing limbo.
Yeah. No, I got you there.
So limbo would be the gray waste / lost souls.
Yeah.
/
Well, that's kind of where my thought was going with it,
Mhm.
is like souls that are just lost, like they have nowhere to go. They don't go to any scape per se. Like they don't go to a heavenscape. They don't go to a hellscape. That would be the gray waste, which is I really do dig that name, like the gray waste.
Yes, and I know I got it from somewhere. I think it might even be one. I think it's what the D&D verse actually calls their limbo as well, but
I don't know.
it's not like it's copywritten or nothing, as far as I'm aware. If it is, someone let us know. But
yeah, just shoot us in the foot.
and then as one of our hellscapes, we can put in an abyss like an abyss like thing. What that looks like, we'll get there.
Yeah, because you would have to have a separation of demons and devils.
Do we though?
Oh, we don't. I guess we don't. You typically do, but you don't.
Typically. But there's no other celestial equivalent to. There's only angels.
Yeah.
If you really look at it, I've looked at this recently in a lot of the RPGs I've seen, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat. Please do. There are angels and those celestial types.
Yeah.
And then on the opposite side, you've got your devils and which are your fallen angel type things. They still believe in the law. They're just not against doing evil things to get the law accomplished.
No, they will do evil things to get the law accomplished. They're law abiding. They will do evil things. They will do evil in an orderly fashion.
And that's what I was trying to say. If that's not how it came out, I'm sorry. But that's what I was trying to say. They are not against doing evil. They will do evil to get the law accomplished.
Yeah. Whereas demons will just ensue chaos and disorder.
Correct.
And they're literally the barbarian Vikings of the evil people.
Yes.
But yeah, I guess you're not wrong as far as my
they don't
memories
have to go apart.
No, I was just kind of agreeing with you in the sense that there are the two factions in the evil
Hell.
side, if you want to say hell, like demons and devils. But on the angelic side, there really isn't a separation of groupings. It's angels, angelic. That's it, as far as I can think of.
You're just good.
Yeah, you're so pompous. You're just good.
Yep. Now, if anyone has something different and has that in their heads, please let us know. We're happy to be wrong.
Oh yeah, please, inform us. We want more information so that we can build upon things.
Correct. 'Cause we'll happily throw something in. But now we've got 3 different hellscapes, 3 heavenscapes. Now there's a million more we could come up with.
And we probably will.
And most of our heaven and hellscapes are going to come from when we go through and we start building the different cultures and what they believe in and how they believe. And
all the religions.
That should be its own plane, or this attaches to this really nicely.
Yeah.
And we'll figure that out as we're building the religions.
Once we start linking things together.
Correct. Our Charlie Day Venn diagramming. Not Venn diagramming, but our theory board.
Hey, that's why you got that big up whiteboard over there, buddy.
I do.
Yeah.
This white thing right here is a big old whiteboard. It's a 6 foot tall by 4 foot wide whiteboard. Bring it on. I got plenty of room.
Gross.
I mean,
I like it, but it's just like, dang.
It's 2/3 full right now.
Oh boy. Okay, so we have our heaven, we have our hell beginnings.
Ish. Yep.
That's Limbo, yeah. That's pretty much us coming down to the close of the night, I think.
Yeah, I think our large scale cosmology We tidied up pretty nicely in 2 hours.
Surprisingly, that was a very effective show.
Yeah. Next time, I think we should jump into doing the elementals, creating this stuff on the surface.
Yeah, jumping into the elemental planes and actually creating the structure of it.
Do you want to do the planes or do you want to do the material?
I want to do the element. I think we need to have I think we need to have the elemental planes first, because how we craft them will determine slightly on how the material plane itself is developed.
Okay. All right. So it looks like we're going to start in next time with the elemental planes, and that is. And I'm gonna put a note on here. It's gonna be the 6 elementals, because we need to include the Fae and the Shadow, because they are ones that attach to creation of life itself and everything out of this.
They're almost 2 of the major planes, realistically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think they're like creating those 2. I think we should create those 2 first, and then dive over into the other main elements.
Okay.
I think that will be a very fun way about going about it. But knowing us, it's going to be completely all over the place. Like, we're not going to follow that structure.
We've actually been fairly orderly so far. I'm surprised.
Surprisingly, considering I like to usually cause as much chaos as I can.
I mean,
it's in my name.
It is. It absolutely is. But real quick, I know there's only 2 of you guys still with us, but do you guys have any thoughts, theories, questions, anything you want to throw out? This is the last chance to do it.
We would love to hear your thoughts, ideas, and inspirations.
Mm-hmm.
Input. Music. Wait, no, Jeopardy music. That's what I was trying to think. All right, we got a quiet chat. Nobody wants to input anything.
It's okay. There's only 2 of them. There's not 200.
We still love you all. We appreciate you all for sticking with us and staying here until the very end. We will catch you guys next Monday at 8 p.m. Eastern Center Time. In the meantime, please go check out both of our shows. That's Hebridian Tales and The Chaos Den. We hope you enjoyed, and I guess we'll catch you all on the flip side.
All right, we'll see you guys next week, and have a great evening.
Ciao.
Shalom. Dobre dia.